Broadcasting live from the mixed up world of Hyrule, this is the Link to the Past Randomizer League, Week 6. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Bobtastic, and joining me today on commentary, you just heard the guy. It's Arusta. How you doing?
I am doing very well. Looking forward to this match. The match we just saw was a very close match between these two teams. They've basically swapped their pilot and runner, and should be a very good match as well.
These should be underway pretty shortly, looks like. So, again, the idea behind these spoiler log seeds is one of our, we've got two people on each team. One of them has the spoiler log and is allowed to watch like the restream and all that stuff, and even their opponent's stream. The other player is not allowed to do any of that and has to sit there and play the game. And the spoiler log, of course, contains the locations of all the items and everything like that.
Yeah, and one interesting thing you'll see here is that they get the spoiler log immediately upon the race starting. So you'll probably see both these runners sort of get a standard opening that they've already worked out and practiced to give their co-pilot some time to sort of route out, okay, what do we need, all that, because the co-pilot's first 5, 10, 15 minutes are very stressful because you don't have the information in advance. You're just making it up on the fly. Swerb getting some very nice luck with the 50% bomb drops there. The two teams today are Spherefinity, represented by sab0tender, who is being piloted by P-Train, and then CLW, represented by Swerb, who's being piloted by Pika-Pals. If you watch the race that ended 20 minutes ago, they are basically the same runners and pilots. They just swap jobs. So.
One person plays, one person pilots, the other person focuses on psyching out the other team. Yeah, that sounds about right. So, interestingly enough, Swerb actually went for the very first chest in Link's house, and sab0tender didn't. That contained the 300 rupees that Swerb has, and so if the bottle vendor has something, Swerb will be able to grab that. Find our first sword in Kakariko Well, as well as the big key of Thieves Town, I think. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it is worth noting here, a lot of the things, since you're avoiding opening unnecessary chests, routing in resources, even something like rupees or bombs or arrows, is something you need to consider more than in a normal seed, because you're doing a lot of low execution percentage, so we'll probably see a lot more buying of potions or safeties or things like that you normally would see skipped.
And the Harris small key as well, and a second sword, as well as another 300 rupee drop. And we do see both runners go ahead and skip the top chest in Blind's Hut, and everybody appears to be piecing out of Kakariko.
Yeah, and so you'll notice on the bottom of our screen, we won't see a map check like you normally do, because that is in the spoiler logs as well. So you'll see on the bottom of the trackers, there are everything that we've got, our crystal pendant layout. Looks like Tower of Hera is a pendant along with Pod and Skull Woods.
Interestingly enough, 2 useful items in the Lost Woods. This is the first time I've seen this in a spoiler. We had the glove, and it looks like we have another Turtle Rock small key. That's 2 out of the 3 that you definitely need to beat the dungeon. And of course, if there's something important in the lava chest in Turtle Rock, you actually need all 4.
Some interesting divergence here. Swerb going straight to Mini Moldorm. Looks like sab0tender is going to get something from the dam. This is one of those things where, especially early, routing it really matters. You want to minimize the amount of backtracking you have to do while still getting what you need to get.
We've got a desert small key, which means a dip into desert might happen soon. Who knows?
Meanwhile, Mini Moldorm has some nice items. The second glove, and then hook shot.
And another free heart, which never hurt nobody. I don't expect anybody to skip that 1 heart on the right.
No, I mean, this is early enough in the seed. I mean, you're definitely not going to skip it because it's basically free, but this is also early enough in the seed that you might even pick up, like if it was a piece of heart there rather than a full container, just to hope to finish off that heart container later with more pieces of heart.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, we're all doing a bit of a fake flipper here. Oh, the big key of Eastern Palace. That seems pretty relevant.
Yeah, since that's a crystal, you will need that at some point. And since you're already down at Mini Moldorm, even if Eastern Palace Big Chest is useless, that's probably about the most convenient time to grab it.
Right. At this point, Swerb is heading to the uncle, or rather the chest near the uncle, for the mirror. And like you were saying, he went ahead and grabbed a piece of heart on the uncle himself.
Interesting choice here by sab0tender to not pick up that mirror before entering Hyrule Castle here.
Yeah,
Because
not
that
gonna
mirror
lie,
can
that
definitely
does seem
save you
like
some
an
time.
oversight.
Yeah, because this is the kind of thing that, you know, you can mirror out, especially when you go down to the basement and get out more quickly, unless you're just going to save and quit. But then you still want that mirror at some point, so...
So it looks like we've got some people headed to Zelda's cell as well. Or at least down that direction. Interestingly enough, this is entirely in logic. Because they picked up the Hyrule Castle small key, even though they didn't really need to.
Yeah, but that small was early enough that it's very possible that it's something that, hey, it's here, get it, and I'll let you know later if you need it or not.
I mean, with access to both gloves, you don't really need the Hyrule Castle small key. I think Swerb actually, like, completely skipped killing the first guard so that he could just so he could get down here because he didn't have the key, or he didn't have another key.
Yes, Swerb skipped killing the blue guard in the just outside this room, which has the guaranteed small key in the chest of 50 rupees. So that does mean Swerb can't get to Dark Cross, but presumably they've already decided that's useless.
I imagine so. An ice rod for Swerb. And with Turtle Rock as a required crystal, we know that's going to be very necessary.
And Swerb showing off a very nice little piece of tech there. Mirroring out of Sanctuary is actually slightly faster than walking out.
All right, looks like a play to Death Mountain here. A sequence break without the mirror, but I mean, not mirror, without the lamp, but I don't expect anyone to have trouble with this particular sequence break.
Yeah, definitely not. These two teams are, CLW is currently in first place in their division after their win a few minutes ago, and Sphere Affinity is in second place, tied with, I believe, like 5 other teams for second place. So both these teams and both these runners are very top tier and not going to have any issue with dark rooms.
Yeah, this division is like probably the most exciting division we've got. Look at all them teams.
Yes, there is still potential for a 6-way tie is on the table.
And no surprises here, sab0tender also following the same path. It looks like Spectacle Rock Cave has something we're interested in today. Wonderful to see that glorious little bomb jump.
And there's Samaria, so yeah.
Samaria.
Swerb showing off that bomb jump very nicely. That's actually one of the more difficult bomb jumps because you're actually moving 3 tiles, so you have to clip into the wall a little bit.
Yeah, and because you're clipped into that wall, the like little spin setup that you will do to like to line yourself up on the last pixel does not work. So you just kind of have to eyeball it. All right, Swerb heading into Paradox Cave. Getting the boots and a little bit of money. Looks like they may decide to... Well, looks like they're skipping the top of Paradox Cave.
Going straight to Dark Death Mountain, which with the hook shot, you can and mitts, you can clear pretty much everything up here.
You ever get the feeling we might have a hammer up here?
Yeah, at this point, they're sort of running out of locations where that could be. Though it is worth noting they can get to Village of Outcasts, so...
Right.
There's possible there.
But I kind of feel like if the hammer was in Village of Outcasts, they'd be in Village of Outcasts right now.
Yeah, not sure where sab0tender... Oh, there you go. Must have realized he forgot he's missing hammer.
Whoops. Looks like Floating Island is our offender today. And it is the hammer.
Well, there you go. And sab0tender's electing to skip Paradox Cave, looks like.
sab0tender is mirroring. He's going to get the Paradox Cave taken care of. Meanwhile, Swerb heading into Village of Outcasts. I imagine we'll get a full or a completion of Thieves Town here.
Yeah, it is worth noting. I don't believe they have the Thieves Town small, so you can't get to the big chest, but it's far enough in the seed that I would guess before he enters Thieves Town, he'll know whether that's needed or not.
And there's my favorite kind of safety to see in these seeds, a mail upgrade from the brewery. And we're going digging, it looks like.
For the fire rod, very nice to see there.
Ah, there we go. So now all they need is, I mean, actually, all they need for Turtle Rock is the whatever medallion it takes to get in.
Meanwhile, sab0tender showing off some chests there in Hookshot Cave that I believe Swerb skipped.
All right, so sab0tender grabbing that hammer and getting the heck out. And we have the ever so important Swamp Palace small key. Swerb actually piecing out of Thieves Town, which indicates to me, because, you know, Thieves Town is a crystal, there might be something in that big chest he wants.
Yeah, because if you have to do the big chest, waiting until you can do it at the same time you're carrying the maiden is a big time save, since you only have to go to the back once. But if you didn't have the big chest, it would make a lot more sense to just finish it off right now.
And the big key of Ganon's Tower, sitting there in Skull Woods.
That's an important one to have.
Yeah, a little difficult to beat the seed without it. And Swerb is apparently interested in something else inside Skull Woods here. Got a full heart there.
This early in the seed, that makes sense to go out for that full heart. I mean, it's not a big time save or time loss since you were already there, and it's definitely
and he's apparently
a nice
interested
safety
in
to have.
another thing here in Skull Woods. Specifically here in the Pot Prison Room.
It is worth noting, having dropped in here, he's going to have to save and quit.
I mean, I think that's worth it.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
would
definitely
take a third sword. Yes, please. I don't really want to go out of my way for a fourth, but third, sure, give it to me.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, it almost makes me wonder if it was something where the sword was what he was really looking for, and getting that heart container was the chest he wasn't trying to open.
Or maybe it was just like, it's here, it's free, might as well.
Yeah, it's definitely
we
possible.
are going to check Hype Cave.
Because it is one thing worth noting for anybody in chat who hasn't run one of these seeds, is that the pilot, you have so much to tell your runner that a lot of the times you might just say, hey, get this chest, or hey, get half the chest here.
Yeah, it even shows you such things as like what your tree pulls are, and like how many digs the digging game takes. Like literally all this information is in there.
Looked like sab0tender was going back to try to pay off that shovel, but decided not to.
Does look like sab0tender is going to go ahead and do some Swamp Palace here. I don't know if this is going to be a quick one or a slow one. And Swerb is headed for Palace of Darkness. Palace of Darkness, of course, not required this seed, but who knows what might be in there.
Sabo looked like they were going for Bombo's tablet, but realized no book. But Agina, so there's definitely probably something here.
Are we about to see some Mimic clip? Okay, maybe not.
Might have been just heading down there and forgetting the whoops, I need bow.
Yeah, bow or potion one.
Yeah, because I mean that's something that, you know, is very easy to have happen in this mode. You've got so much information coming in so quickly, and also you know how fast these seeds go. Like typically an hour to an hour 10 for top tier runners is not at all uncommon. So there's a lot of pressure on the runner.
Yeah, and let's be entirely fair. I mean, you're given no study time beforehand, so this is all being done on the fly. So it's very possible to miss a thing. Kind of like, you know, we didn't point it out while it was happening, but sab0tender, when he was going into Swamp Palace, he was kind of missing something a little bit important. The flippers. All right, sab0tender picking up a few things there in Sahasrah's closet, just to round it out.
Showing off a very nice use of the spin speed glitch there.
All right, I find it interesting that sab0tender picked up 300 rupees in Sahasrah's hut there, but has not opened the 300 rupee chest in Link's house. I am confused.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's something where they looked at the chest very early and misclicked it on the spoiler log, or Swerb finding flippers. There you go. That is a nice thing to find.
Okay, so flippers here, which explains why no one went into Swamp Palace yet. Oh, and there's a bottle here as well, which I guess maybe Swerb didn't grab.
No, Swerb skipped that chest, and it is worth noting in this sort of mode, a pre-filled bottle like that can be very, very nice. sab0tender working on 7 hearts here.
Swerb working on 9, which is probably the most I've seen in one of these seeds so far.
Yeah, I mean, especially only 20 minutes in. Sometimes you'll find, you know, you end up at 10 or 11 later in the seed as you pick up heart pieces here and there, just randomly off bosses. But
like in my run yesterday, I finished on 6.
yeah, and Swerb making a play straight to Swamp Palace, which makes a lot of sense here because, one, it's a crystal that you can clear, and 2, Swamp Palace has a lot of checks. You can't get the big chest, but you can get everything else. So there's a decent chance of those 9 items they can pick up. There's something good.
Correction, you can get the big chest.
Yeah, and since he's stopping to grab
literally right there in the first chest.
Yeah, that's a convenient place, right?
Yeah.
And since he's stopping to grab these first 2.
Swerb has 10 hearts. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, and stopping to grab those first 2 chests, definitely something in the big chest there, presumably.
All right, so sab0tender has the flippers as well. I imagine he'll be heading back to Swamp.
Yeah, and that Quake we just saw does open up Misery Mire once they get the ability to flute to it.
Ah, yes, we have that information on the tracker. In fact, if you don't know the spoiler layout, the very first things you see are what the prizes are, so what crystals and pendants there are, and then the next 2 things are what opens the 2 medallions. And interestingly enough, the next 2 things are what the fairies give you when you throw a bottle at them, and how many digs the digging game takes. And then it's basically just the rest of the locations by area.
Yeah, though it is worth noting at the very bottom of the log, it does tell you what the stun prize is, and also the fish turn-in prize if you ever do that, which can be interesting to know.
All right, we're getting a left side diver down from Swerb.
Very nicely done there.
Interestingly enough, he did pick up the bow in the big chest of Swamp, and also a Turtle Rock small key. That's the 3rd one we've seen, so that'll take care of basically most of Turtle Rock. He's just got to get Ether, which we actually saw sab0tender pick up Ether. It was in Agina's cave.
Yeah, you'd have to guess that Swerb is probably going to head straight to Agina after this, since he's right here to pick up that Ether.
So Diver uses the Cane of Samaria because the Cane of Samaria is not busted at all. But Diver and Icebreaker are really 2 completely unrelated glitches. Diver is just kind of clipping into the rail and allowing you to jump down, whereas Icebreaker is extending the length of the door state, where it thinks you're in the door so you can walk through the thing.
Yeah, and it is worth noting, Diver Down you can actually do with bombs. It's kind of tricky and precise, but you don't need Samaria for it. Yeah. Icebreaker, you hard need Samaria. It's the only way to do it.
And, yeah, the bomb strat's not actually that bad either, if you know how to do the right side Samaria strat. You just gotta drop a bomb in the right spot and then just act like you're doing right side.
Yeah, to answer a question in chat, the extra sword that Swerb has was from the pot prison in Skull Woods.
Just throwing that out. Just throwing this out there. The rupee counts are officially the best rupee counts I have seen in my life. Anyway. And ruined. Anyway. Alright, so Swerb now heading over to Turtle Rock, it looks like. After finally picking up the Ether Medallion.
Yeah, it is worth noting that unless the big key is in here, you can't get to Trinex. 3 keys is enough to get through the dungeon, but Trinex hard requires the big key to get into his room.
Yeah, and there's a good chunk of stuff that's just locked behind the big key. Like Crystal Roller Room and on is just inaccessible without the big key.
Oh, and sab0tender, that bottle paying off. Very nice. That would have been a huge time loss.
Alright, Swerb, opening Turtle Rock. See what we find in here. So basically, without the big key, you can access the first 3 chests, the compass and the roller room. You can access chain chomps. You could access the big key chest, though you would want to get a 4th key if you did that. And while you could make it to the big chest, you couldn't open it. There's also Mimic Cave you can access, which is not technically in Turtle Rock, but for all intents and purposes, is in Turtle Rock. Except, of course, when it comes to being in the spoiler log, because it's not listed as part of Turtle Rock in the spoiler log. It's listed as Dark World. So if you miss that, you might be in trouble. That's a whole bunch of pieces of heart there in Hype Cave. And interestingly enough, Swerb picks up a small key to Pod and the Thieves Town small key in Turtle Rock. And that is, again, something we expected people to go find because they bailed on Thieves Town while it was a crystal.
Yeah, so that definitely confirms that there's got to be something in that big chest they want.
Or actually, sorry, Mimic Cave is listed as Death Mountain, not Dark World. I'm a dumb.
Some interesting divergence here. Let's see where sab0tender is going. They can, with that Samaria, they can clear Ice Palace. I don't know if they can get all the chests, but they can get in and do the boss.
I mean, we might be seeing Waterfall or Zora. I mean, I guess it might be Zora. So at this point, we have to assume there's something Swerb wants in Mimic Cave. Without that big key, you can't get any further in this dungeon. Oh, the lamp is on Zora. You know what? Sure. I certainly don't mind doing that. Especially if it'll save you time in those dark rooms.
Yeah, and I won't go into detail about the previous race in case anyone wants to see it, but let's just say one runner getting lamp and the other didn't had a big impact on some previous races between these teams.
Oh. Well, okay then. That'll work. So, turns out when the big key of Turtle Rock is in Mimic Cave, you can beat the dungeon.
Again, walking right past that that big chest means it's definitely not even like a heart container or something like that, because it would have taken 0 time to get there. So it's got to be just rupees or something total garbage.
These runners are so much more disciplined about not opening chests than I am. I'm just like, whoops, I opened a thing that I didn't need to.
Yeah, I mean, and that's even something that definitely comes in terms of just like muscle memory. If you're playing and it's like, oh wait, I'm walking right past this chest, just fighting the memory to urge to automatically open it.
All right, so Swerb making it through the dark maze of Turtle Rock, or the dark Samaria maze. Turns out it's a pretty doable thing. Not interested in any of the contents of Laser Bridge, which is interesting. I had not even ever considered using a Samaria block at that particular location, but goodness if it doesn't work.
And Swerb is going to show us some ballsy plays here, because
he got no safeties.
2.5
hearts. Didn't use the safety door. You better not take damage, is what I'm saying. Nicely done. And Swerb brings it home.
Yes, we're putting on a clinic of exactly how to handle Trinex there. Very nicely done.
And that is the second crystal for Swerb. And it looks like sab0tender is going to be following Swerb into Turtle Rock. Alright, so I would guess that Thieves Town is probably the next thing on Swerv's mind, what with that whole divergence to go get the small key.
Yeah, because not only can you go get the big chest, it's a clearable crystal that you can finish off, so makes a lot of sense to go do this now.
So just out of curiosity, who won the last race?
So the CLW won the last race, which was Pika Pals, guided by Swerb, because beating sab0tender, or excuse me, P-Train, guided by sab0tender.
All right.
And also shout-outs to Sphere Affinity's third teammate, GFE12, who is in chat and seems to be pretty nervous right now.
Alright, so sab0tender also going to go pick up the small key to Thieves Town and potentially that pod key. Nope, no interest in the pod key. Yeah, the only real mistake I saw Swerb make so far is going into pod. Ostensibly intending to head to right side, but not picking it up. But without a bow or a potion. And then sab0tender did the flipperless swamp dip. these are the sort of things you kind of expect in a on-the-fly routing spoiler seed, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is legitimately one of the most difficult modes in the league because it's just so different from how you normally route things, how you normally play, all that. Also, shout-outs to the bunny sprite there on sab0tender's side. Love the Secret of Mana reference.
What was Popoy's bunny sprite? I missed it.
So it's one of those little
Big Chest of Thieves.
it's one of those little like Moogle-ish ones from Secret of
Oh,
Mana.
right, the Moogle. That's right. The one that you get turned into a Moogle. Yeah. So they made one of the girl from Secret of Mana, and the bunny sprite is the girl in a barrel.
Oh, that's good. I'll have to check that out.
Which is hilarious. All right, so yeah, the flute is definitely a good reason to go for the Big Chest of Thieves Town, especially since Misery Mire is required.
Yeah, it is worth noting at this point you can't finish Misery Mire or Desert because have neither big key, but you can now access both of those dungeons.
Yeah. So we can assume there's something necessary in Palace of Darkness, or Swerb probably wouldn't have been there. Maybe it's one of those. I don't know. And Swerb is going to say hi to everyone's favorite swag duck.
And sab0tender showing off an interesting strategy there to place the block and then use a pot to open it up. So then you still have the block. That's an interesting one. I don't know if I've seen that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Cool. Plenty of good strats to use in that room, and I don't use any of them because I'm bad. sab0tender incidentally has as many rupees as there are checks in this game at the moment.
Also doing quite a good job on Try and X here.
Absolutely. Again, taking basically no damage on that first part, and on the second part. So, did the same thing Swerb did, but without being, at risk of immediately dying.
Yeah, meanwhile, I would guess Swerb is going to set this up. So we'll see if he does it, but there's some new tech here known as Icebreaker, and yep, looks like he's going to show it off. So you'll see it in just a sec, but basically what you do is it's pixel perfect, but it's not as nearly as difficult as it looks because you can use sword buffers and select buffers to pull it off. Basically use Samari to clip through the block here.
So you get yourself on the right pixel here, and then you sort of slash and hold down right. And then while you're holding down right, you use the Samaria block and release the control at the same time. Then you want to hit left for exactly 1 pixel or 1 frame and then hold down. And you can, if you don't get it for exactly 1 frame, you can hit down, you can like tap down or up and then continue trying to tap for 1 frame to the left several times over. You don't have to keep reusing the block.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know the tech, there is a very good video on YouTube prepared by Koi, one of the excellent runners in the Link to the Past community, who does a very good job of sort of walking through this is exactly how it works, these are methods to do it, etc.
Yeah, I was basically quoting that video.
Yeah, I mean, I actually learned it and pulled it off for the first time in a race this week. Like, it took me maybe 15-20 minutes to learn with the video. It is legitimately easier than it looks, so it's worth learning. Swerb showing off a very nice fight there against Cold Stare, trapping him in the corner super quickly and just plowing him down. Very nicely done.
Mm-hmm. All right. After defeating Ice Palace, Swerb taking off and heading to 5. So maybe this will be that dip of Pod now that the bow is in his possession.
Yeah, and it is worth noting with the Mirror and the Eastern Palace Big Key, Swerb can also combo Pod directly into Eastern Palace to get the Eastern Palace Crystal right after this. It is also worth noting that going through the bow lock side like this actually does mean that Swerb is going to be able to use this if they want to go to the boss more easily. It's a pendant, so I can't imagine they would unless there's something on either Helma or the green pendant.
Right, right. The Big Key of Desert sitting on the right-hand side, and Swerb is just piecing out. That seems like the reasonable play. So it turns out didn't really need any pod keys.
So Swerb continuing on through Eastern Palace, looks like not even going to open. Has already been through part of this. Probably going to just go straight to the boss here, get that crystal. Then from there, presumably going to go with the big key, can now clear desert and get items off, get whatever on Landmo, and has the option to go to Meyer area, though without the big key won't be able to finish Meyer. Looks like sab0tender is basically following the same route here. This is definitely an interesting thing about these spoiler log seeds, is that they do tend to have a lot of convergence, because the optimal route, especially past the first few minutes, the optimal route tends to be very, easy. Once you figure it out, it tends to be very similar. It's very rare to have something where, oh, we can do 2 different dungeons in different order and it's exactly the same time frame. And to answer a question in chat, the extra sword that Swerb has was from Skull Woods, the Pop Prison, which Skull Woods is a pendant, and the only other thing that was in there that we know about was a heart container, so it is very likely sab0tender will not waste the time to go get that. Okay. Thank you to chat for correcting me. The extra sword was in the Eastern Palace big key chest. Also, shout-outs to P-Train, who's apparently watching the stream, and not only serving as a pilot, but also correcting the commentators. So, that's P-Train. Thanks, P-Train. Definitely a good guy. And definitely rooting for everybody in this race. Everybody in this race, definitely give our runners and our co-pilots a follow. sab0tender, piloted by P-Train, and Swerb, piloted by Pika Pals, both of whom have put on very good races thus far. Definitely worth watching. Very good people and known runners of the community. And to answer a question in chat, the Misery Mire Big Key was on Armos night, so sab0tender is going to get that in just a sec here. Also, shout-outs to our tracker, Dark Diplomat, who has done a very good job of keeping us on track, pushing the buttons for us, and keeping everything on the tracking side.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Had to adjust my connection. We seem to be functional again.
Swerb doing the Dark Mire room with the throw of the block there.
Seems to be doing a pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it is worth noting with only 2.5 hearts. Might need to be pretty careful on Vitreous and these last couple rooms here. Because the death on Vidi or down here is a huge time loss.
And a lack of, again, lack of safeties on his part, and no silver arrows in sight, can make this a pretty difficult fight, although apparently the butter sword was acquired, so that helps.
Yeah, and you can't use
we got butter and cape. This is a trivial fight. Never mind. Butter and cape makes it the easiest. Check this out. So if you want to be like super safe, you could literally just get in there, put on the cape, and just spam the sword. And for one thing, when you're spamming the sword, your magic doesn't run out very quickly. And so you could just take all day doing that. Alright, so Swerb finishing off Mire. I imagine Desert will be forthcoming.
Yeah, at this point, Swerb just has to finish off Desert and then go straight to Ganon's Tower for the climb.
Alright, so sab0tender is going to go ahead and probably ice break here as well. Oh no, he's not doing it. I mean, sometimes you're more used to the other path. I do feel like any excuse to skip this room, though, makes me want to do that. Because forget the room with the conveyors and the spikes and the berries. Get out.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things some of the people who don't like the fact Icebreaker exists, that's one of the things that people cite is just the fact that you get to skip some of the most execution-heavy rooms in Ice Palace by doing Icebreaker.
Hmm.
It was a very nice IPBJ, and sab0tender has done a very good job running through here, doing all these rooms very quickly.
I'm not convinced it would have been faster to do Icebreaker. I mean, maybe. Probably.
I mean, if you got it first try, maybe, but I mean, given how quickly he's done those rooms, I'm not sure it would have been if you had to set up twice or anything like that.
It's pretty stinking quick.
Swerb going to pick up 10 arrows there because he was out of arrows. That's a very nice game knowledge there to remember those arrows are available and remember to go pick them up.
Hey, good call. Anyway, that is 7 crystals for Swerb. He's headed right to Ganon's Tower. We've got the big key. There's also at least one small key that was picked up to Ganon's Tower, maybe a second. Either way, I expect a direct path to the exit or to the top of the tower here.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, really, the only thing you could get safety-wise that would help, I mean, there are still some bottles out there, and there would be red mail, but really, at this point, the biggest thing you'd be looking for is silvers.
Right. Now, because Swerb, has a fairly sizable lead, sab0tender is, a little bit behind here. He's got 2 dungeons left to beat. If, say, the silvers are in Gen's Tower, but they're a little out of the way, do you think Swerb might go for them? There's a little bit of a lead, and it makes the Ganon fight just super easy. I don't know.
It's an interesting question. I think it would depend on where it is. If it's something like Hope Room or one of those chests, or maybe even like the Stalfos room on the left side, maybe the answer is yes, because you're committing maybe a minute to save 40 seconds, but...
Yeah. I wouldn't go anywhere that causes me to spend an extra key. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And Swerb doesn't look like he's interested in anything in the basement.
Yeah, and so since we're not going to see them on Swerb's side, and we'll see maybe sab0tender will get them, but since someone did ask, the silvers actually are in Ganon's Tower, but they're in Randomizer room, which is pretty deep in, so it makes sense that Swerb skipped them, and is going to make sense. I would guess we'll see sab0tender probably skip them as well.
All right, Swerb dealing with the mimic rooms in a expert fashion. And into the gauntlet. And getting 1,000,000 arrow drops now that you've refilled on arrows.
Yeah, and I mean, there are several pots on the way up that also have arrows, so he can even freely use arrows as he needs to and still have some for land mows.
Yet he's deciding to go to Fire Rod. Gets a little debated by the stall. Most of the time, firing a fire rod shot at those pots will work, but you know, it's another one of those ancilla things. And Swerb finishing off Moldorm 2 as sab0tender finishes off Vitreous.
And picking up that pot for the heart makes a lot of sense. sab0tender was on 4 hearts. This is definitely an area where you don't want to die. Even though he does have a lead, dying here up on the climb would give up most of that lead.
Mm-hmm. Swerb has enough magic to hit all these torches. Make sure to grab that key. I imagine we'll see Swerb pick up the magic pot in the next room, as there is at least some amount of magic required for the Ganon fight. And we have Moldorm 2. Wow. Wow. The Sank Heart in the validation chest, ladies and gentlemen. That is the nicest this seed has ever been to anybody. And it's Aga 2 time. We got 2 hits. Another 2 hits, despite a blue ball in the face. And another.
Yeah, and I will note that the spoiler log does differentiate between boss heart container, the ones that don't refill, and Sank Heart, which is just called heart container. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if that was something where they pre-planned and knew, hey, we're going to get this refill as long as we make it that far.
I imagine so. I imagine so. So Swerb finishes off Aga 2 there with the triple double, which is something we can do here on Link to the Past Randomizer that the NBA is not currently doing. Just saying.
Well, they are doing their own little Twitch streams of online NBA 2K if you want to see video game basketball.
Fair enough. All right, Swerb already into phase 3 of Ganon. Where was the 4th sword?
Ice Palace, big key chest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually I'm actually on board with picking that up if you're going to do Icebreaker. But sab0tender didn't do Icebreaker, so it definitely makes sense that he did not. All right, time for Swerb to do some Silverless Ganon fight. So
yeah, and getting the torch glitch, which with Fire Rod and half magic, you probably do this without torch glitch if you're really careful, but really something that helps a lot, of course.
Yeah. But once again, getting the torch glitch with just the Fire Rod and no lamp is a non-trivial feat. I'll give you that. So a lot of people will want to like just stand there next to the torch and spam the lamp so that you definitely don't miss it. With the fire rod, it does take a little bit of timing. You basically want to time it to hit kind of as the last, or right around when the last tile disappears from the edge.
And there we go. Get your GGs in chat for Swerb and Pika Pal's the co-pilot, who are going to cross this bridge and finish the seed.
And I mean, let's be fair, this was not a runaway race, right? sab0tender is in Ganon's tower as his opponent finishes, so I mean, in any given race, I consider that to be a pretty close race, no matter what. I'm always completely satisfied if I'm in Ganon's tower when my opponent finishes, so...
Yeah, and we'll see if we can, if they're interested in doing an interview.
Seems reasonable. Yeah, well played for Swerb and Pika Pals. And, you know, commiserations to sab0tender and Team Spherefinity, but it was still a very nice race. And I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, and just to update people on the standings with those 2 wins, that puts CLW in first place with 24 points. And then there is currently a 5-way tie for 2nd through 6th with 18 points, with Spherefinity along with a bunch of other teams. Double Dippers, Forfeiters Are Us, and Hyrule Track and Field. And Did You Check Your Boot? I do believe most of those other teams have not yet done their race for their 2 races this week, at least according to the standings online. So who knows what it'll look like at the end.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this division plays out. sab0tender, get the key. Turn around. Oh no, he's already got the key. He got 2 keys. I can't read the screen. So yeah, both runners definitely did not elect to pick up the silver arrows, and it's no surprise whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, that looking at the other chests along the way, basically you'd be going for that. There's also, in Randomizer room, there's a green potion in there, but those are really the 2 only things that you'd be going way out of your way for. So it is almost certainly not worth it, even knowing where they are.
sab0tender manages to get 1 hit on each of the first 2 phases here. And then I think that thing where 2 of them hit it still only counted as 1. No, it counted as 2. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 1 there.
And sab0tender racking up the bonks there.
There you go. What is the post-Aga 2 cutscene if not for racking up the bonk counter? So sab0tender going to have a little bit of a tougher go on Ganon here, but not by much. Especially if he can get the 1-in-1 cycle here. Doesn't look like he's going for it, though.
pulling out that cape makes a lot of sense with half magic and with also having lamp. Shouldn't have any issues with magic here.
Yeah, looking like it'll be maybe 5-6 minutes separating our two runners here. Swerb in chat. That's hilarious. All right, just a few more spins for sab0tender, and he'll have the pig down as well. Good old-fashioned bacon. All right, sab0tender finishing off Ganon. Looks like there'll be about 6 minutes and 20 seconds or so separating our two runners here. There we go. sab0tender finished the race as well. And that's going to do it.
Yeah, we will see if we can get them in here for interviews real quick.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, the way Speed Gaming has it set up, the when you hit the button to show that someone has finished, it automatically sends them a request.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that works for the trackers as well, so I'll send out and see if we can get a one for the trackers if they're interested as well.
For the pilots, yeah. Looks like sab0tender is in the setup room, so I can move sab0tender on in if we want. Talk to sab0tender for a bit. And there's also Swerb, so we'll talk to our runners and we'll see if we can get the pilots here in a second. Hello, 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 and welcome.
Hey ho! Oh, GG Swerb, nice job.
Yo, GG's, dude.
Well done for both of you. Swerb, you gave me a heart attack many times during that seed.
Oh, I try.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, we're going to have a 2.5 heart, no safety Trinex. No problem.
Listen, man.
Whatever.
I gotta keep things on the edge. Keeps me sharp.
Yeah. I mean, I guess not no safety. The cape was there in case something went horribly wrong, but you weren't going to use that. And of course the blue mail was a thing, but yeah. Looks like our pilots have also joined. So welcome to P-Train and Pika Pals. And again, congratulations to Team CLW for this double victory. Sorry about it for the other team, but congratulations on getting this far anyway. And you're still well in the hunt for the playoffs here.
Yeah,
Oh,
GG's the both of you. Like, me and Pika, this whole week, we'd been practicing a bit because we were really worried about you two, and we were just like, all right, if we can just go 1-1, we'll be looking pretty good. So
We were hoping for the same.
Yeah,
A nice
we
split
did
would've been
one
good.
practice match last night.
Yeah, this is a pretty tricky mode, especially if you don't have a ton of practice with.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the way worked out for me. I just honestly, I barely had time to do anything.
Fair. Yeah, I at least had some background with doing spoiler tournament stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole nother ballgame when you have to route while the player is playing.
Yes.
And I mean, we noticed a couple of examples throughout where that on-the-fly routing kind of messed with you.
This seed in particular was really rough because I felt like last seed, we got into Thieves Town pretty quickly. You could do Skullwoods pretty quickly, which are, those are opportunities for your pilot to kind of work things out. But this one, it's like, oh yeah, you might as well go get Hammer on Death Mountain. Oh, by the way, now you have access to all of Light and Dark Death Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So don't miss any keys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I've got the Thieves Town big key. We're going over to Village of Outcasts. We can go clear out Thieves Town and give me some time to think. What do you mean the flute's in the big chest?
That darn flute.
And where's the big key?
All right,
and
fine.
where's the small key? That's the important one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
And then it's like, all right, fine. I guess the swamp small key is going. The swamp small key is there. We'll just grab that, and I can think during swamp. Wait, we don't have flippers yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we did that too. We actually went into swamp without flippers.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's funny. Yeah, me and
So
Pika
Swerb-
did like one seed, like a night basically this week. So yeah, we were pretty practiced. But earlier this week, in the other way around, when Pika was racing, I was co-piloting. I sent him into the swamp without flippers during one of our seeds. So I guess he was just paying me back.
Nice.
So Swerb, I
Unfortunately, he
kind
caught on.
of thought that you were going to be doing some mimic clipping there for a bit.
I think Pika might have been thinking that too. I don't know.
Sometimes you expect to have the bow from Swamp Palace when you're going into pod.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you
You-
remember that you haven't grabbed the flippers yet.
Now, you could have, in theory, picked up the bottle from Eastern the first time you were there and done the potion glitch.
The issue was the bottle was a fairy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
And
I
the
mean,
first
yeah.
time we were
but you had a
there-
bunch of money.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but that's
well,
all like a long trip just to go over there.
I mean,
Except for you're gonna have to come back
I mean,
to clear out Eastern anyway.
I mean, you could get a red one from just a random shop. Just throwing that out there.
You can do the mimic clip with the fairy if you can get rid of your health fast enough. You just have to, when you die, you just have to get bumped to the left. Like your damage boost has to be to the left, and then it's basically.
Oh, the potion glitch works with a fairy?
weird.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
You just have to get damage
What?
boosted to the left.
Yeah, while you die.
Okay,
Well,
that is interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I had
Yeah,
not
I
I,
even.
mean, I
know
still
either.
wouldn't. I still probably wouldn't have routed that way, but it
I mean,
was
same,
an option.
but- Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was
the
like-
correct decision was just to not go into pod the first time you were over at Eastern, but
I believe that is correct. But yeah, the whole flippers needing to go the
Yeah.
flippers there.
and
And going for
I
that
was
lamp.
thinking,
I'm sorry. I went for the lamp. That's on me. I was scared of the Mire Dark Room.
I mean,
it's fair.
given what happened in the previous race, I wouldn't fault you on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I fumbled around in the Mire Dark for a little bit. So lamp would have been nice, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's just worth it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got both collection rates on screen now. We had 63 and 70,
Oh, that's too many.
so fairly similar.
Yeah.
Dang. That's
so-
just one item.
I think we had this discussion in chat, but I wanted to discuss this with sab0tender.
Yes.
Is there a reason that you decided not to do the icebreaker?
P-Train and I were talking about it through the race there. I haven't practiced it quite enough. Like, I'm like 30% success rate, I'd say, and I just didn't feel good about it. So it would have been nice because that sword was nice just hanging out over there, and it is faster for the dungeon as a whole. But I just thought it was probably going to take me maybe 2 or 3 tries to get it right, and then like just go for the bomb jump instead because I know I can get that.
Right. And to be
Yeah, those
fair, your route through the traditional route was really fast. I was just sitting there like, I'm not sure it would have been faster to do the icebreaker.
I see. I know that one so well that it feels so cozy just to go this traditional bomb jump there. So, yeah, but icebreaker is on the list of things I got to get better at. As are Armos quick kill, because that was embarrassing, and then Misery Mire dark room. I want to ace that so that I don't need that stupid lamp ever.
You know, I'm sure Zora appreciates your patronage.
I mean, yeah, seriously, yeah.
We
I
had
have
600 rupees like immediately, so
Yeah.
I have one very, very, very important question, sab0tender.
Yes.
Why did you not get the 300 rupees in Link's house?
You know, I wanted to say I was saving it. I keep it under my mattress, you know, just in case the worst should happen.
you need a life insurance
emergency
policy
fund.
somewhere.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So, that's.
Did you guys start in Sanctuary then, or?
No, they
No.
both of you started in Link's house. It's just sab0tender walked out. Not even kidding.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even read it because I just kind of assumed.
Yeah. Well, like the way we'd been starting is just opening that chest automatically because you're not the person reading isn't gonna be able to check it before you can. So
That's true. Yeah.
I just grabbed it and I was like, oh sweet, we got 300 rupees right from the start, so we don't have to worry about bombs too much.
Yeah, and that was another layer to my early routing because we realized very early that number one, Zora has the lamp, and number two, there is literally nothing else in that area.
Mhm.
So as we were going through like Death Mountain and stuff, like I was trying to find like rupee hoards and like things to get the Zora money, like in addition to like key stuff. So that was like an interesting puzzle to solve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Zora
the
always
way
has a weird layer to it.
The way my dumb butt does things is I start from Sank and just do the Houlihan room while my pilot is looking at the silly
We've seen that, I think. Yeah.
thing.
In some of the races, it's not a bad way to go about it.
Yeah, that would
seems
actually
like
been
a valid
useful in
start.
that first seed
You know,
because we were struggling for bombs and money early on. Pico's just like, dude, I need bombs, and I was like, sorry, man, I'm not even thinking about those. It's my bad.
sometimes you lose 3 out of 4 coin flips and get tired.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yes.
Well, that was a thoroughly enjoyable series of races, and I'm glad that this was it was still fairly close both ways. Even though both of them came down on one side, still a very, very nice race. Anything else you guys would like to say before we wrap it up here?
Not really. Just GG's to these guys again. They did a great job. And to you, Dr. Bob, Arusta, and Dark Diplomat, putting this all together. Appreciate that a lot, guys.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to say thanks to the runners and both teams for making it a very interesting couple seeds to commentate and work with Dark Diplomat on tracking and Dr. Bob Tastic for helping me calm this one, and James for helping me calm the previous one.
All right. So once again, I would like to thank everybody for watching. This has been an excellent stream, excellent race all around, and I hope you enjoy what's coming up later today. We've got plenty more action coming your way. I think the next one is my team over on Speed Gaming 4 with Dark Shadows versus Jet, and that'll be fun. I'm not doing anything with that unless they sign me up for comms. But other than that, we got a bunch of stuff going on the ALTTPR League channels later today as well. So make sure you tune in for those. Be a few more matches tomorrow, and then the next week we will be doing the co-op all dungeons extravaganza, and you don't want to miss that either. It's going to be awesome. All right, so with that, I want to thank our runners again and everybody behind the scenes, and my co-commentator Arusa and the tracker Dark Diplomat for making this an excellent show. And I will see you all at a later occasion. I have been Dr. Bobtastic. Good night, everybody.